Hello, and welcome to the Delusional Boyfriend Book Club. My name is Courtney, and I'll be your host. And today we're talking about August's Be All Manga of the Month, Lullaby of the Dawn. This is a series that I know so many people really love, and I've been really looking forward to getting into it. I am only covering volume 1 in today's podcast, and then I'll definitely do a follow-up episode when I collect the rest of the manga. But kind of part of this book club was deciding what are the fan favorites, what are the series out there that people say are amazing. How would I feel after reading volume 1? Would it be something I would want to invest in the physical copies of or read the ebooks of? And with this series, I can definitely say that as soon as I was done with volume 1, I needed volume 2. So I will be continuing to collect this. As of right now, there are 5 volumes available. And there are additional booklets available with bonus content. And I was on the Tokyo Pop website. Tokyo Pop is the publisher. And on their website, they had not only the 5 volumes available, but they had additional booklets and they had a discount going on. So if you are looking to collect the rest of this, you should check out maybe buying directly through them if you want to get that discount. I personally really want to know what the additional bonus content is in those pamphlets. So I'll definitely be ordering like the full set right through Tokyo Pop. So this is by an author named Ichika Yuna, and this is their only series, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from my research, I could only find this series, which is kind of sad. I love when there's an author that I really like that I can dig all the way into, but I do have 5 volumes in this series, so I can't complain too much. This is going to be a first love supernatural story, and the other tropes going on here are going to be age gap. We have our main character Elva and our main character Alto, and Alto is 8 years younger than Elva, even though Elva looks a bit younger. We also have Black Cat Golden Retriever going on, and we do have like a servant master situation. The difference here being that the servant in question he is like offered up his life in service to this other character, Elva. So Elva hasn't like demanded that he be his master or anything like that. This is a situation that Alto has taken on willingly of his own accord. So it's a pretty interesting dynamic. I would say it's a lot less toxic than most like master servant dynamics that you're going to find out there. As far as other tropes, it is like a found family trope. We have both of them kind of being out on their own in the world at a very young age. So they find each other very young and create a kind of found family. And then it is also kind of a medieval story. And it's hard to say because it's a fantasy what the time period is here, but they have specifically referenced crucifixions. So when I'm reading this, I am reading it through the lens of like, right around the time of Christ, even if this is on a different planet. We have reference of the Black Sea, which makes me think that we're on Earth, even though there's like these fantasy elements going on. So questionable time period, but I would say it's like a medieval trope. We seem to be in the olden days where we're like hunting and using carriages, and definitely there's some like religious magical elements going on that harken to an older time. So with all of those tropes being said, our kind of spoilers free summary, if you haven't read this yet, is going to be that there is a problem with the Black Sea where at nighttime the sea turns into like a humanoid monster. And if there is not this supernatural character called the Kanagi, I hope I'm saying that right, the Kanagi, if the Kanagi is not there to fight this Black Sea monster, then all the normal people will be at risk. So these Kanagis, they are like, once one dies, another child in the village, their hair will turn white and they'll get this mark of the flower, and they'll have to pick up the torch and carry on this tradition of protecting the village that they live in from the Black Sea. So our main character is going to be that supernatural figure, and then the love interest is going to be a townsperson. So that's the kind of spoiler-free summary. I there's not a whole lot more I can say, so I'm going to jump right into the spoiler-filled breakdown. So if you haven't read this yet and you don't want it spoiled for you, go pick it up now. So when we get into the story, we have Alto, our younger character. He's 10 years old. His family basically tells him, you have to go deliver this food to the Kanagi. And the Kanagi is this mystical creature, this person who is very like white skinned, almost translucent, like a vampire. And they have white hands and black hands and black feet. And some people think they're cursed. Some people think they're blessed, but it's kind of a punishment that he has to go deliver food to the Kanagi. It's a punishment and a responsibility. Someone has to do it. So when he gets out there, he finds a teenager who looks about 13 years old. We know from the context that this person is 18 years old but looks 13, so looks very small. And this 10-year-old delivers them their food, and instead of just dropping it off outside, he goes inside the house, and the Kanagi is like, don't come in my house, don't spook me. And the two kind of get this rapport going. And the Kanagi, his name is Elva. He's this character here with white hair. He's really beautiful, very delicate, very childlike. And he offers to braid the hair of this younger boy. And this younger boy's mother has recently died. So he has like a rat tail going on with his braid, and it's very like unkempt. So Elva goes to offer to rebraid it. And when he looks at his own hands, which are stained black with this like inky tattoo, he pulls back, and the other character says, why did you pull away? Weren't you going to offer to braid my hair for me? And he was like, yes, but I don't want to touch you with my hands if you don't want me to. And Alto says, no, I don't mind at all if your hands are black. Please braid my hair for me. So he does braid his hair. And then later on, they go outside, and all of the town's kids are like throwing rocks at Elva's house. And Elva is like, you shouldn't be here because it's going to make you an outcast. Like, I'm an outcast. If you try to befriend me, they're going to outcast you too. And Alto like scares the kids away and makes it clear that he is going to befriend Elva, whether or not that makes him the object of ridicule himself. So very sweet story. Right after that, we have Elva basically having Alto move in with him, and Alto wants to do this. He wants to be by his side, and every night Elva has to go fight these like sea monster demons, and Alto is like waiting for him at home. He has a fire made for him, he has food ready for him, and Elva comes back, and we learn that Alto's family has passed and nobody is really missing him back in the village. So he becomes this roommate for Elva, and we see a 10-year time skip where the boys go from being 18 and 10 and relying on each other and becoming family to being 10 years or 8 years later, being 26 and 18. So this is where our age gap comes in. And I will say that there's nothing romantic that happens until Alto, the younger character, is 18. That's where the like romance picks up in this story. And I really appreciate that distinction, that there's not like this grooming going on where Elva was an 18-year-old with a 10-year-old living with him and, trying to use him in an inappropriate way. They truly were just, bonding over the fact that neither one of them had family and both of them needed help surviving in this world. And they relied on each other. They became family. But I hesitate to say they're like brothers, because Elva has always been the object of Alto's desire. And Alto, once he is 18 years old, he starts to make that known that he does love him and he wants, to take this to the next level. Super, super cute. I like the dynamics. I love the supernatural element. I love the fact that our more fragile character, our more femme character, is actually the hero of this town. Without him, the like sea monsters would take over this village. So even though he looks very feminine and he looks very fragile. He's actually the hero to everybody. And even though they all outcast him, he's the reason that they're all safe. So I really love that dynamic. And already I'm very nervous, like in this first volume, because we learn that the Kanagi can only be finished with their job of protecting the village if they die. That's the only way that another Kanagi is going to be named. It's the only way that they get out of their duties is if they die. And our main love interest, Alto, his whole purpose in life is to break this curse and set him free and figure out why these monsters are coming out of the Black Sea and why the Kanagis have to sacrifice their own lives. Why does nobody else have to do anything to stop this war against these sea monsters? So he is on a mission to set Elva free, and in doing that he has to leave his side. So they've been together for 10 years, and these stains on Elva's hands and feet, which the Kanagi are known to be cursed with these black hands and black feet, over time the stains have gone away, and they seem to have gone away in direct correlation with Alto coming to spend time with Elva. So it's almost like the loneliness being relieved. It has taken away some of this poison or this curse or the toll that this life is taking on the Kanagi. So Elva, like, doesn't really realize that Alto is leaving to go get a job in order to do research on this war with the Black Sea. He's going to this convent where Elva was raised before he was actually put in charge of this village. He was raised in a convent after he became a marked one with the symbol appearing on his forehead and the white hair. Once that happens, you get moved to the convent and you get trained there. So Alto, now that they're all grown up, he goes to the convent to do a job and make some extra pocket change, but he's really going to research how the sea started attacking people and started being so evil, how the Kanagis ended up being in charge of banishing those monsters, and what he can do to solve this and make it so that the love of his life doesn't have to die in service to destroying these monsters. When he gets to the convent, though, he meets a nun who basically says, like, there is no setting him free. There's nothing else that you can do for him. This is like his role in life, and we each have a role in life that we have to play out. After she says that, he does end up meeting two other Kanagi who are supposed to replace him once he dies. And like I said, they've been together 10 years now, and Elva has actually outlived any other Kanagi. Nobody has made it to be this age yet fighting these sea monsters. It's always taken so much of a toll on their body that they've passed away. But because he has Alto's company and care, he has this man who's like building him a fire and taking care of his house and making sure that he can sleep when his shift is over and the sun rises. Because he's being so well taken care of, he's lived longer than anybody else has. So we're introduced to these characters who are white-haired and marked and waiting for their turn to, take up the torch, but Elva just won't die. So we get introduced to those characters right at the end of the story. We also get introduced to two like researchers in this volume who are they're tracking and taking notice of the markings on Elva's skin, and they're taking note of how old he's getting, and they're showing a lot of interest in whether or not Alto's presence is having a positive effect on his health. So these researchers, we're not quite sure what their role is, but they're definitely keeping tabs on the Kanagi and trying to figure out how to make them maybe the most useful. And one of my predictions going forward into these books is that those side characters are going to be called into question because they're very suspect to me. I so far have a lot of questions for them, and I don't like the look of them. They're just looking very suspicious. So when our character Alto goes to that convent, he sees a wagon full of people who are going to be executed. And it's mentioned that they're going to be executed via crucifixion, which is why I say this is like a medieval based story, even though it is fantasy. It's probably set in an alternate universe, but that's the vibe we're getting. People are being executed, they're being crucified, and Alto runs into a person who is like in the military who has captured these folks, and he's asking Alto questions about what he knows. Everyone knows that Alto is taking care of the Kanagi and that he has basically destigmatized this character. So usually the Kanagi is thought of by everyone as like a cursed creature, but because Alto has been going out to his house and taking care of him for 10 years, all the townspeople stopped being afraid of Elva. Also, Elva did save a group of young kids from the Black Sea at one point, and so the townspeople know Elva is not evil. He's really there to protect them. So he has been doing a lot of work to destigmatize him, and this officer at the convent asks Alto, he says, "What do you know about the Black Sea? What do you know about the Kanagi? What do you know about how you die if the sea touches you?" And Alto just tells him what he knows. He says, I basically don't go out to the sea. It's too dangerous to watch Elva do his work, but I know you die immediately if the sea touches you, and there doesn't seem to, be a way to escape that unless the Kanagi saves you. The Kanagi. So when he tells the officer that, the officer goes and says, "Great, that's how we're going to execute these prisoners. We're going to take them out to the Black Sea and tie them up and watch them get killed by the Black Sea instead of crucifying them." Which, like, I don't know, would you rather be crucified or eaten by a sea monster? Like, the options are terrible. So we have Alto very concerned, like, how does he help these people? They're going to get executed anyways, but he knows it's kind of his responsibility for sharing this information that he had on the sea. And he goes with the officers to see them be executed. And at the last moment, he has a real crisis of conscience, and he jumps into the sea to save these men who are about to be executed, and he gets a couple of them freed, and the rest of them die, and one of them even says, "I want to die. I don't want to be crucified, so just let me die like this." And his eyes go black, and then Alto sees his eyes open back up as if he's like a zombie possessed, and then he says through his mouth, "A body, I finally have a body." So we can kind of assume that the spirit of the Black Sea has possessed this man's body and is no longer just like a sea monster that can attack people as like this monster, but maybe now that he's inhabited a human's form, he can actually go onto land and threaten people up in the village, not just down on the sea. So we see Alto witness this happening, and then he falls into the sea. The sea envelops him, and we know that he's away from Elva. And while he's been away from Elva at this convent, Elva's like ink stains, which had started to disappear over the last 10 years, have grown again and started to spread again because he is no longer in the presence of Alto. So this book ends with him being drowned in the sea and waking up on the shore, and another character who looks a lot like Elva picks him up on the shore, and we can kind of assume that that might be a Kanagi from a different kingdom, maybe a different village. So Alto gets picked up by this person who looks very similar to Elva, but we know is not Elva. And that's where the book ends. And we know that Elva is going to be looking for Alto, and that Elva's stains on his hands are growing, and we're very concerned about him. I am dying over this cliffhanger. I need volume 2. Like, I'm about to order this in the physical volume immediately, and at the same time also get it on my Kindle, because I want to finish the series so bad now. I have to know what's going to happen. Did he wake up with a different Kanagi? Are we in another time jump? Like, what could be happening? And I do want to say that this art style is so beautiful. And I usually don't love an older teen story. This is rated 16 plus, and it doesn't need the spice. This is such a plot heavy book. And the romance, the age gap is 8 years, which usually is pretty problematic. Other than the fact that there's no spice, there is absolutely nothing but like this platonic love between them until both of them are adults. So I really like the art. I like the pacing. I like the plot. I like the setting. I love that the bonus chapter we get at the end of this is just Alto listing 100 things that he loves about Elva. So we really do have this black cat, golden retriever character dynamics where one of them is absolutely simping for the other one, and the other one doesn't really know what he's done to deserve this kind of love and doesn't really know how to accept it, given the understanding that he is going to die one day and he doesn't want to abandon this person who loves him so much. So does he return his affection knowing that he might have to abandon him one day or die in the line of service one day? So I thought this was like such a good, deep, romantic, thrilling story. I was enthralled. It was such a page turner. I absolutely recommend this. I am absolutely going to be collecting the physical volumes. I just can't say enough how excited I was for this story and how it met my expectations. I heard nothing but good things. And a lot of times when you hear nothing but good things, you're like, it can't all be positive. Like it must be overhyped. It's not overhyped. This is such a good story. And I do hope that in the other volumes we get some spiciness. I don't think we will. I think they're all rated older teens. So I would say like that's one thing is if I had to improve at the point that I'm at right now, I would add some of that in somewhere down the line. But for the most part, this is just like a total home run. As far as my delusional boyfriend from this series, it's usually the character, the like simping golden retriever who I'm obsessed with. But I'm obsessed with Elva. Elva is so beautiful. The character, like, this is probably my favorite panel. It's a picture of them kissing. Elva is already 18 years old. Or at this point, Elva would be 26 years old and Alto would be 18. And Elva is still so tiny and like very fairy-like. And I kind of imagine Elva like Felix from Stray Kids when he's blonde, like very angelic and like, I don't know, there's something feminine there, there's something very youthful there, something kind of alien in its beauty. Also, there's a Gojo factor happening with the white hair. Anytime a character has like glowing white hair, white skin, blue eyes, like that kind of fluorescent look, I'm going to be a little bit biased and feel like it's a Gojo vibe. This character doesn't have blue eyes, but you can definitely see what I mean by Gojo. Also, Alto looks like Gato. He has the long black hair. He has the bang piece. So these two are giving Sato Sugu vibes all the way. That is a huge plus for me. But I will say that like of these two, I'm definitely in love with Elva. Elva is super strong, super brave, willing to sacrifice his entire life in order to keep the person that he loves safe. Even before he had anyone to keep safe, he was willing to sacrifice his life for the betterment of his village. So I think he's a noble character, a brave character, a beautiful character. I absolutely love Elva. I love the name Elva. Oh, elvish, that's how you would describe it. It's like this very elvish vibe. There's just something very magical about Elva. So that's my delusional boyfriend for this story. Would I date Elva IRL? Yes, but I would almost say no, because I know he's going to die in the line of service. And that is my biggest fear ever, is losing the person that I love, especially losing them in like a battle or a war or something that feels like, they were a martyr for a cause when they could have just ran away and been in love with me. So I would date Elva in real life because he's so beautiful. He would, he's like a prince. Like, he's too pretty to resist. But I definitely would be sad when eventually he died at his job. So as far as he stacks up to my other delusional boyfriends, right now, as far as like Coyote goes and Birds of Shangri-La and some of my other mangas, I don't think Elva is quite there yet. And that's only because we're in volume 1 of 5, and this is a really plot-heavy story, so we haven't gotten to the romance as much yet. And I haven't gotten to see Elva, seduce Alto and like lay on the charm in that way, because right now we're worried about Elva's health and we're worried about Alto being drowned in the sea. So there's so much other stuff going on that the romance doesn't take like the front seat, I wouldn't say quite yet. I'm wondering if in the next few volumes, I'll definitely do another bonus podcast episode, because I am wondering if Elva is going to take the throne and take the crown away from my other manga boyfriends, because Elva is just like kind of perfect, like beautiful, pure-hearted, strong, brave, all of it, the gloominess, the self-sacrifice, all of that is so perfect that I think in 5 volumes, there's really potential here to be my number one delusional boyfriend. So we'll keep an eye on it. And as I read the rest of the volumes, I'll update you guys. But please let me know, who is your delusional boyfriend from this story? Are you an Alto girly? Are you an Elva girly? Do you see the similarities between Sato Sugo and these two? Are you worried that this is going to be a doomed yaoi and these guys have no chance at a happily ever after? Because I am definitely worried. One of my predictions is that Alto is going to figure out how to break the curse and set Elva free. And at least if they don't solve the mystery of what's going on with the Black Sea, he will be able to like relieve him of his duties in a way that he doesn't have to die. So that's my big prediction. I want to know what your guys' predictions are. And as always, thank you so much for being along for book club. I hope that you guys are really enjoying this summer. I know my summer has totally flown by. Check out our BL Manhwa of the month, which is Miscreants and Mayhem. That will drop on the 15th. We also dropped today our anime of the month, and our BL anime for August was Classmates, which is a new favorite of mine. I absolutely adore it, and I have a lot of fun doing those episodes with Val. And then, of course, we are going to do our reverse harem romance novel. Those episodes always drop on the 25th, and that's going to be the second volume in the Saint View Rebels series this month, which is turning out to be such a thrilling series. So I really do suggest you guys follow along with those. I listen to the audiobooks, so if you're an audiobook girly and a dark romance girly, you should check out those episodes as well. You might be really into them. As always, please rate, review, and subscribe if you're enjoying the podcast. If you are listening to this on a podcast app, you can hit auto download so that you never miss a bonus episode if it doesn't come out on the 5th, the 15th, and the 25th. If I have a random episode that I publish here or there, if you have the automatic downloads on, then you'll never miss one. And if you want to watch this as a video podcast, head over to YouTube and subscribe to us there. All of the podcast episodes are available in full video as well. Thank you again so much for being here. And until next time, remember, sometimes the delusion is the solution. Bye.